So sings my soul, praise my God of love and life. So sings my soul, a joy.
What a wonderful way to recognize the interconnectedness of this world. We live in this relational world but do not know it. And it reminds me so much of the saying of Jesus in the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus said, "The kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and men do not see it." And spirituality, particularly as we come to it in the science of mind, is really here to let us see, have eyes and see, let us have ears and hear, to come to a place within ourselves where we find that the challenges of life don't necessarily go away because we wave a wand and say, "Be gone," and it's gone. They come into our lives to enrich us, because life is not so much about magic, it's about an adventure. An adventure is where you have all kinds of experiences, and yet you have within you a light of insight about who you are, what your work is in this life. And despite what the seeming obstacles are, there is a power greater than you are within you that you can use. And this is what it's about. This is about calling forth this essence within yourself, particularly in those times when things don't look very good, particularly in those times when you mess up. And we will, everyone does, but when you mess up, you get up. You don't stay down there. You get up not just to go again, but to go more wisely, as Michael just said a while ago. I asked for wisdom. And ladies, don't worry about it. Everyone won't get their hair color changed as a result of wisdom. You guarantee that, Michael, won't you? With the hair color won't change just because they get wisdom, right? So you can get wisdom. So, my friends, this morning I want to talk to you about the power for your becoming, for your best becoming, your best becoming. And where that is coming from is the feeling that life is about becoming. Life is about becoming. And when we say life is about becoming, I'm basing that on something we don't have to get into in church, on the fact that quantum science tells us that life comes into being and perishes, And it doesn't look that way to us because our senses can't pick it up. But every moment of being is a moment of becoming, because you are becoming whatever it is that either intentionally you have set within your mind or not. In other words, you're going to change whether you want to change or not. But the beautiful thing about life is that you can direct the change in life. This is why the gifts that you have, the talents that you have are such that you can decide what you want to do with your life. And even though in a particular moment somebody may not be appearing to be doing precisely what they want, the fact that you have set your intention, the fact that you have determined what you want to do, you will find that gradually or more quickly, the universe is beginning to conspire to help you to be and do what needs to be done. And this is the exciting thing. But what we need to understand is that the universe has to have some laws, some principles by which this can work. Otherwise, there's chaos. Think about just driving home. If all the lights went off and everyone decided that they want to come through the intersections first before everybody else. Chaos, yes? The reason we don't have chaos, the reason we have order is because there are rules or laws or principles that govern the way we do things. Otherwise, whenever there are no rules and laws and principles, chaos results. And it's true of your life. So we have to come to the life we're living spiritually and mentally and realize that mentally, because we have to look at the book of nature. Look around us and see how nature works. And from there, we can understand why Saint Aquinas once said, nature is a book about God. Nature is a book about God. You see the seasons come, and you see what happens in the season. And if you're a farmer, you know what season you must plant, what season you must reap, and what it is that you need to do in this life where there is such a law as sowing and reaping. And it's true out there for the farmer as it is true in here within the mind, because it's the one mind operating as your mind and operating as the mind of the world. That is why we can bring ourselves into harmony with what is going on. So we have this power for becoming our best. And even in this life, because it's an adventure, we know that everything changes and ends. So what we need to understand is we cannot stop change. It's the nature of life. It's similar to, you can't stop water from being wet. You can't stop fire from giving off heat. It's the nature. So what you can do is you can work with them. You can cook your food in the fire rather than burn down your homes. You don't want to burn your homes down, right? And so what we're doing is we are using the power of mind to choose. Now, let me tell you something about the power of mind to choose. We read the story of Eden, and we see how it is that Adam and Eve are supposedly driven out of the garden. And recently, I have shared these thoughts on Facebook, and I noticed somebody has grabbed my idea now and is writing it up like he came up with it. No, I came up with it. And he's getting all kinds of, yeah, that is great. But fundamentally what I'm saying to people, this story has been misinterpreted by this theologian, Augustine, to be sin and redemption, how original sin came in the world. I am saying not so. This story is a parental story. It's a parental story of how children have to be obedient to their parents until the opportunity comes for them to begin to assert themselves, which looks like disobedience to the parent and is signified by eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil. Now, if you come with the mindset that it is sin and redemption, which nobody had for centuries, until Augustine, somewhere about 400 that 400 years after Jesus, he came up with this idea. It never existed. The Jews never had it. It's a Jew story, and they never had it. And so, once you come into the awareness of choice, then you start to seemingly disobey your parents. Because why? You're coming into adulthood. You're going to have to start accepting responsibility. And so you're pushed out of the garden because now you're ready to make decisions and take on responsibilities. It's the very process you went through with your parents. That disobedient time. and then you want to try this and try that. And finally, you settle down because you realize you can't just do anything you want to do. You have to assume responsibility for your action. And so what I'm saying to you is the deeper meaning of the story is that life is an adventure. And so you're pushed out into the adventure. When you see that adventure pops up in the Bible again, it will pop up in the story of Abraham. When God called Abraham to go from your father's house to a place, to a land I will show you. I want you to understand it's an adventure. You can't have an adventure if all you want to do is sit in your comfort zone. You have the adventure when you're going to risk going out there and finding out what life is. You risk when you went to college, if you went to college. You risk when you took your job, if you had a job. You risk when you got married, if you got married, or when you got into a relationship. These are all the things that you have no idea how they're going to work out. You go in with great intention, you have no idea how they're going to work out. But that is precisely the adventure that you're taking. And as you go along, you're collecting not just bad experiences. What you're collecting are experiences you can learn from to have wisdom. To know what it means when Jesus said, as you believe, so be it done unto you. And so what you're becoming is this person who is experiencing all or many facets of life. Some good and not so good, some not so good. And what is beautiful is that despite the not so good ones, you don't have to get bitter, you have to get better. You have to get better. It says, I need to be better here. Not I need, most people take that as I need to be bitter here. And when they are bitter, rather than learning from what seem to be negative experiences are not necessarily bad for you. What is bad is taking the negative experiences as if they were only bad for you, and then you're sulking all your life. You're unforgiving all your life. But when you learn, oh, I don't have to have this kind of experience. I don't have to behave like this in this way. And even relationships that fall apart, same thing. What is it that I have to learn from this relationship that fell apart? How can I be better in the next relationship? And this is the mindset of the one who understands that there is a power for becoming. Now, I mentioned that there must be laws. And so there's the law of circulation, for example. Law of circulation means whatever you're putting out there is what you're going to get back 1,000-fold. Whatever you put out there is coming back to you. So ask yourself, what would I like to have come back to me? Am I doing enough of putting that out there? If I want positive experiences in life, if I want successful experiences in life, how am I preparing myself for those things? You know, recently, we find that the Olympics are going on and people are preparing themselves. And this wonderful runner, Shari Richardson, there's another middle name there somewhere, she's the 100 meters sprinter, and she's fabulous. She dresses like, I don't know, young people with all that stuff on her. And she just make her way to the tape. And now she's the favorite to win the gold medal for America going to the Olympics. All of a sudden, she's banned from the Olympics. Why? She went out and smoked the weed. She went out and couldn't help herself smoking the weed. And when they tested her, they found that she had done that, and that banned her. Now, Emerson says, you're not punished for your sins, you're punished by your sins. Can you understand that? You're not People think that God is in the punishment business. God is not in the punishment business. You can't be both in the loving business and the punishment business. So God is in the loving business. God is love. I never hear they say, God is punishment. God is love. So where is the punishment coming? Don't tell me about the devil either. The punishment is coming from our own misdeeds. Lack of judgment. Here is this young woman who in a couple of months or so could be on top of the world with their gold medal and all that stuff. And where is she now? Unless they change their minds, and I don't know that they will. She did something she knew she wasn't to do. Now, people like me, feeling sorry for her, might argue, but it wasn't a performance enhancement drug. Why can't you just give her a little... That's not what the rule says. She knew the rule going in. And she decided that, gee, my mother died and I had to smoke this thing. It turned out that her mother, she never grew up with her mother. So I don't know why her mother dying should have such an impact. And her mother's death was not that recent either. So all of a sudden, she's aware that her mother died and it's time to smoke a little weed. I am saying that we all have those kinds of experiences where we do something not so wise at the wrong time. But we must learn from them. We must not say, well, the system is all terrible because it's against this and against that. We must say, what is my responsibility to myself? To be the best I can be. To realize that each moment is a moment of becoming. When I walked in this morning, I said to you that this is the best day of your life. This is the best day of my life. Why? Because it's the only day of your life. It's the only moment of your life. And you have to live from moment to moment to moment to moment, even though you don't see it that way. Think about a film with different little pictures on them, but when you run them, it looks like everything is moving. That's where you get the moving camera. But everyone is a separate little thing. Well, it's kind of sort of like that we live in these little droplets of moments according to science, not according to religion, according to science. That's what we do. And in each droplet of realization, we're coming into being and perishing. Don't wrap your mind around it. I just want you to have a feeling that every single moment of your life is a creative moment. You can create the life you want to live if you are willing to understand what the greats have been talking about. So Buddha says, all that you are is the result of all you've thought. How are we going to give ourselves the life we want to live without thinking? You see what happened when that young woman didn't think? That's what happens. Instead of going down the straight and narrow, Jesus said, you must understand that the gate is wide for those who do not do the right things and very narrow. He says, walk the narrow path. The narrow path is not just about your morals, although it might include that, and it does. It's about asking yourself, what is my life about? And how am I bringing that life to bear upon the life that I'm living so that it will transform me into the best person I can be? Some people say the best version of myself. And let me tell you, there's always a better version of yourself. Why? Contemplate, you're made in the image and likeness of God. And once you begin to contemplate that, you will see there is no limit. There's no limit to your expansion in this life in every direction. In every direction. Whether it's healing, whether it's relationship, whether it's some kind of goal that you have, your purpose, think about it. God can't choose it for you, but God has imbued you with a talent and a gift for you to be the best you can be. And our job is to find out what it is. So when the parent pushes out of the comfort zone, out of the home of, oh, I don't have to get up until 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Oh, I can watch television all day long. To the outside world where you said, no, I have to make it. No, I have to do something. Now I can draw upon this amazing creative abilities that I have within myself to be and to do, and realize that doing and being, or being and becoming, are one. Are one. And so every moment you choose to be more of what you want to be, you will be like Solomon saying that what you think about all the time, that enters into the deeper aspect of your heart, that is what you become. Okay, so he said it a little different. As a man thinks in his heart. You say, but people don't think in their heart. Why does he say think in your heart? Because it's not just thinking, it's feeling. It's feeling is what you feel within yourself that you will do. If you just think it's okay, I wish this could happen, I wish that could happen. So today you feel optimistic, tomorrow you feel pessimistic. But when you think in your heart, you come to the place where you understand the poetic language of Jesus when he says, if a man has the faith of a mustard seed, a little tiny seed, and he says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and do not doubt, it shall be done. It shall be done. Now, understand, mystics are poets. The literalists will say, well, let me see, I didn't like those people in Hollywood Hills. Let me see if I can get rid of that hill over there. That's not what it's about. What he's saying is the obstacles in your mind that prevent you from fulfilling this amazing ability that you're given, this amazing gifts that you're given. If you have a start, the faith of a mustard seed, and you say to that mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea. And think about the image of the sea. Go back to Genesis 1 and think about the image of the sea. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving above the waters, the sea, the amniotic fluid of the earth. Your consciousness fluid is the amniotic fluid. And you are hovering, which means you're meditating and praying that something great can happen in your life. Because that's who you are. You're not that way because you've accomplished something and you're running around and say, I'm better than other people because I can do this and do that. That's not the point. You're who you are because God has given you the gift of your personality. Unlike any other personality. Never put it down. Never say, well, I wish I was like this. No! I wish I was more like myself. How about that? I wish I was more like myself. Who is myself? An amazing son or daughter of the living God. Uniquely poised to impact this world in a way that no other person can do and no other person can be. And that's who you are. And we take it for granted because we do not understand that you are the gift. You're not waiting for a gift. You are the gift. You're looking around and say, what is missing in this life? You're missing in this life. You're missing being who you are so you can have the impact on the rest of us so we can also be who we are. It's an interrelated thing. The more you are who you are, is the more it empowers me to be who I am. And the more we are who we need to be, my goodness, we are going to be in a position where we can understand Jesus' prayer, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Every moment can be like that. People want to die and go to heaven. Why not live and go to heaven? Heaven is not a place. It's a state of consciousness where you feel the aliveness of God in you right here and right now. That's why Jesus said, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." It's the will, it's the consciousness. And as you come into the consciousness of good and come into the consciousness that I'm not a prisoner of this life, I'm a pioneer. I'm not a prisoner, I'm a pioneer. That's why it's an adventure. You're taking off to discover new regions of mind, if not place. New regions of experience, not just to settle down in a closet of regret and act as if nothing good ever happened in your life. All the so-called bad things that have happened in your life, transform them. Rethink them. Go back and recognize they have something to teach me. And when you learn the principle back of what that hurt was, release the hurt. Keep the principle. And you will find that it will propel you into a stratosphere of consciousness that is better than you have ever been in your life before. Because you are in this process of becoming. And the world is going to be better because of what you have become. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, we have come to the end of our service. I hope you not only enjoy the service, but feel the joy of what it is like to grow into your best becoming. Because this is really what the journey is about. So when you come here each week, we're not here to tell you that you're going to die and go to some place and how bad you were. We're here to tell you how good you can be right here, right now, living in that image and likeness of the divine God. And if this is something you like, come and grow with us. And if not, well, you just have to find the right place for yourself. So let's turn within. It's our prayer time. And you see those boxes up here? These are where people make their prayer requests. And they sit out there so you can go up and write your prayer request. We pray for them here, and the practitioners pray for them for a month. So you write your prayer request and enter them in the prayer boxes. And let's take a look at how prayer works. And so we come to this place, this quiet moment, to know right where we are. The deepest Spirit of God exists in and through us, as us. For we come to the consciousness that knows that there is one life. It's God's life. And that life is the life we are each living. And somewhere in that realization that this life is true, there is that connection we can make to healing. And in this moment, whether that healing is coming through with the aid of the medical profession or not, it's still God's healing. And so early on, or late last year, I had such a need because they discovered cancer cells in my body. And by Good Friday, both from treatment and prayer, there were no more cancer cells. And last week I went for a second checkup, and there are no detectable cancer cells. And so I'm speaking the word knowing that this word is true, not just for me, but for us. That there is a power in the universe greater than we are, working for us all the time. But we need to cooperate. And we cooperate with our faith to know, despite the appearances of things, there is an element of God's perfection in and through me as myself, which is not touched by the comings and goings of life, and to which I can turn. And when I turn to it, it's already turning to me and transforming me and you and everyone into the best self that we can be. And I speak my word for those in need of a greater flow of affluence, of money, of wealth, realizing that there is no lack and limitation. We just need to come to a place of deeper acceptance and to listen deeply and ask ourselves, what is my responsibility here? So that I can be a more open receptor of this particular aspect of good. And I know right now, today, this is happening in my life. I speak my word for relationship. I know some relationship needs to be let go, and let us let them go lovingly, quietly, and well. Let it not be that we are discouraged and depressed and see them as losses. Let us see them as moments of gratitude for what was good about the relationship and an openness to receive that and even better in this future time. Because we are in the moment of becoming, and we can direct that moment by the affirmation that seeds that moment into becoming the growth and the sprouts of goodness that is yet to be. And yes, God is not finished with us. We are on our way. We're on our path to this adventure, and we're not afraid. I bless our church, and I say that we stand here for a great good. And may those who want to receive that good come and find that this is the place to be. I bless the board that meets after church today. I bless the Hispanic church downstairs that is meeting now. I bless all who are here and have participated to make this day a wonderful day. And I bless our nation and our world for peace and goodness and divine right action. And knowing this is all true, I say thank you, Father, Mother, God. And together let us affirm, and so it is. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. The peace that passes all understanding. And so it is.